to be able to fix a problem, you've got to first of all identify where that problem is. In order to identify a problem, you've probably got to go and search for it and therefore admit you have one. And that's where we have a bit of a problem because David Moyes doesn't think there is one. Bit tenuous, really, isn't it? But David Moyes thought we were a better team in that game against Fulham. For large parts of the game, he thought we were a better team. He admitted that we got exhausted later. Big surprise. But he thought we were a better team. Now, I'm going to work on the assumption that the majority of you thought that Fulham probably deserved to win that game. There will be some people that might agree with Moyes, but I'd imagine, in the main, most people would concede Fulham were a better team. I'm not talking about what I said yesterday about it being over the 2 games, 7-0 aggregate. Forget the 5-0. Just deal with the 2-0. David Moyes seemed to think that we were in the ascendancy for quite a lot of the game. He thought we were in control of the game for 25 minutes. Here's how I saw it. He means at the start of the game, by the way. I thought we started off quite brightly. I thought Michail Antonio missed a good chance following a good run from an unexpected source, which was Vladimir Soufal, who sort of fluffed his lines at the end. It got a bit of a ricochet, came back off the goalkeeper, and Michail Antonio blazed over, high and wide. It's probably still travelling now. From that point, I didn't think we were particularly in it. Well, not from that point, from the point that Fulham scored. Now, I felt that Fulham finished their celebration on the 10th minute. So they scored on the 8th or 9th minute, but we'll give them 10. After that point, I thought Fulham were in cruise control. I really do. I thought they were in control of the game. I thought we barely threatened. The stats for the game are that West Ham had 4 shots on target and Fulham had 10. Now, our 4 shots on target, a couple of those were pretty damn weak headers, as you probably noticed yourself. I don't know what expected goals is. It's a stat that's used. I've not modernised particularly well. It could mean nothing, expected goals, or it could mean everything. But that was crap. Our expected goals were something like 1 and Fulham's were 3. Whatever that means. I'll let you decide. But I think that was probably reflective of what I saw in the game. Yet Moyes thought it was okay. He really did. And there's a few things that have got me, well, a little bit annoyed. And there's a few things that have got me worried, really. First of all, let me just deal with Alan Shearer on Match of the Day 2. Now, I mean, you couldn't make it up, but you probably could. Actually, if you were to ask me before Match of the Day 2, if Alan Shearer was asked about David Moyes, what would he say? I probably could make it up. I probably could have invented what he said. But here's what he said. Whoever was Match of the Day 2, so it wasn't Gary Lineker, whoever sat in a chair said something along the lines of West Ham fans disgruntled David Moyes, a bit of disgruntlement amongst West Ham fans with David Moyes, Alan. What would you say to that? He sat there. He thought about it for a moment, and he came out with the most well-worn cliche you've ever heard, which is, be careful what you wish for. I mean, we get that said to us a lot, don't we? Be careful what you wish for. I would say to them, West Ham fans, be careful what you wish for. I'm looking at the league table now, and West Ham are 8th, 2 points off 6th. I don't know how much higher they think they want to go. Words to that effect. And it did nothing. It did nothing to address the concerns that we have at the moment. It was a thrown-out cliche. I don't hear too many people complaining about the league position. In fact, I can't think, and we do a lot of videos on Hammers Chat, I can't think of a comment in recent times where somebody has said, I'm unhappy with West Ham's league position. People say, we're in a good league position and we've got a chance if we win this next game to get into Europe. People say if we continue like this, we might drop. But no one ever says, ever, West Ham are 8th, West Ham are 7th, we deserve to be 4th. Never heard it. So his argument is null and void. That's not what we say. And it really frustrates me because by him not doing his job, and not just him, there's a whole research team there, by them not arming him with the correct answer or giving him the right question, it allows for David Moyes to get away with a lot of this stuff. What a question really should have been, I felt, was, 7-0 over 2 games against Fulham. West Ham not doing too well defensively, Alan. Maybe something like that, rather than allowing him this old powers act where he can trot out this rhetoric that supports David Moyes. West Ham have got the joint worst defence, outside of the bottom 3 in the Premier League. The joint worst defence. There was a terrible stat during the game. I don't know if you heard it. Terrible stat during the game. Basically, the commentator said Danny Ings is West Ham's most used substitute this season with 14 times. Oh, that is shocking. That's shocking. I look at him, he barely ever comes on, and he's our most used substitute. I don't know what the other teams do, but I'd imagine their most used substitute is probably used more than 14 times. And it's indicative of what David Moyes does. And for him to come out afterwards, I know he's deluded, all right? I know he is. For him to say, I thought we had the better chance in the game. No, we didn't. We absolutely didn't. They were walking the ball in the net at one point, you know? All right, maybe I'm stretching it a bit there, but you know what I mean. It didn't, you know, they isolated our players really, really well. But what does bother me was him saying we got a bit tired. Maybe we got a bit fatigued. What do you mean, What do you mean maybe we got a bit fatigued? Maybe you did. We were fatigued. We were knackered. But again, as David Moyes has a tendency to do, he views things that happen at West Ham with absolute detachment, as if he has had nothing to do with it at all. Oh, look, those players, they're tired. How did that happen? That's what it's like. No, Moisey, you are responsible for the fatigue. You absolutely are by your refusal to rotate. Yes, I know he did for this game, but it's a little bit too little too late. Too little too late. And it just becomes incredibly frustrating. His refusal to deal with people that clearly aren't informed. I don't know why. I went back and I watched extended highlights of that game. I don't know why. I must be a glutton for punishment. And I am not digging out James Ward-Prowse because we were discussing him in the build-up. But my word, he was so unsuited. He was so bad defensively. He was so bad. He wasn't the only one, by the way. But I just think sometimes you get like the Hollywood moments in games, don't you? Like Mavropanos' clearance. And that was the Hollywood mistake, if you want. But actually, on closer inspection, Ward-Prowse was really, really bad. Really bad. Did a really bad job. He wasn't the only one, but as I say, watching it back a second time, and I must be a nutter to do that, there's no doubt about it, was not good at all. Really, really bad, actually. And I just thought it was a horrendous performance. A tired performance. It was tepid, insipid. It was tepid as well, actually. It wasn't even tepid. It wasn't even lukewarm. Honestly, it left you cold. It really did. And I just was really fed up with David Moyes' appraisal of it. I'll tell you who had it right. Marco Silva. I'll tell you what Marco Silva said. Marco Silva said, I thought West Ham really came at us in the first 10 minutes. He said, after that, I thought we controlled the game. He said, of course, West Ham had some chances, but he said, I thought we kept them quiet. He said, West Ham got some really good attacking players, and I thought we kept them quiet. And he was absolutely right. I thought a lot of the players were stinky in that game, by the way. A lot of them. And, that'll be dealt with on the player ratings that myself and Gio do over on Patreon. By the way, I won. I won on Match Bingo. I won. If you go on Match Bingo and you go back to that game, go back to the Fulham game, I won 2 lines. I won 50 quid. There you go. It was. I didn't pay too much attention to it at the time. Well, number one, I was fuming, and then the horrible thing happened with George Urphy. So I just started to pick my phone up, and that happened, and that's how it went down. So, I mean, that was good news that David Moyes reported that he was awake and he'd gone to hospital. They didn't say precautionary measures. I mean, that was a bad. That he hit the ground hard, didn't he? He really did. I hope he's all right. I really do. I hope by the time this video gets published, we've heard a little bit more. But I mean, the club did really well to get that statement out within an hour of the game, which I thought was really good because a lot of fans would have been very, very worried about that. Well, we all were. We all worried about him. So I thought that was really good. But yeah, so because of all that, I forgot about my Match Bingo. Look. I'll talk about it later in the week, the Match Bingo. I will talk about it later in the week, but I'll show you the screenshot. Absolutely chuffed. So I felt everyone else had won, and now I've won. And by the way, my mate Nick won as well. So he sent me a screenshot of his. So yeah, I don't know. Honestly, they must be paying out more money than they're getting anyway. We'll go with it while it's happening. I'll tell you what I will do. Actually, I will put the link in the description below. Match Bingo. Check it out. Links in the description below. 18 and over. It is a betting app, but it's only £2 per play. And there's a free-to-play game on it as well, almost every week. You've got darts, you've got cricket, all that sort of stuff. I'll put the link in the description below. Please click that. I know you've come from Hammers Chat. And they like that because they hopefully they'll continue to sponsor us if they think. Lots of people are watching the video and signing up to Match Bingo, but I'm not joking. It's a very, very, very good app. I think my appraisal and my recollection of what happened on the app yesterday was absolutely spot on. Unlike David Moyes' recollection of what happened in that Fulham game, he's completely deluded.